Before we get into the video, I would like to thank today's video sponsor, and that is Whatnot. For those of you that are not familiar with Whatnot, it is an amazing site or mobile app where you can buy and sell all kinds of items, including Yu-Gi-Oh cards, Pokemon cards, Funkos, Magic, literally anything that you can think of. This Tuesday night on June 20th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, I will be live on Whatnot doing a Wild Survivors box break. Now, the way these box breaks work is every single pack in the box is going to start at $2 a pack. You guys will auction on them, and if you win the auction, you get every single card in the pack. It is super fun. If you don't have an account yet, use my link in the description and sign up. You'll get $15 off your first purchase at checkout, which is an awesome perk that Whatnot does. It's so cool. And if you want to buy a site shirt like this, there still are a limited quantity available. And make sure you bookmark this stream. I'll have it linked below in the description. Hello everyone, it's Dylan from Yugioh Everything, and welcome back to another Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush episode review. This time we will be going over episode 63 of Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush, the duel between Yudias and Phaser, which is also going to be the final duel of the 5th arc. Super cool. And generally speaking, I thought this was another strong episode in what has probably been my favorite arc of Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush. Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush has been really cool because the last 3 arcs, arc 3, 4, and now 5, I've all liked a little more than the previous, which is always a good sign with a show. I think it's always good if you're enjoying the next arc more than you liked the previous arc. And of course, we'll see how this arc ends, but we finally get the interaction between Yudias and Phaser, our main threat, of course, in this arc. And we had to wait a few episodes for this because the last 2 episodes, 61 was in the carded world, 62 was in the sevens world. So 63 picks up exactly where episode 60 left off and where the Go Rush world left off, with Ron stealing the carded Yuumu and taking the 3 Odo cards away using the power of Dormammu. Ron decides that Yudias needs to have these cards. He is our final hope. And we see Dormammu kind of become one with Yudias, and I'm sure Yudias is going to use those 3 Odo cards probably in this duel next week. My prediction is that he's going to form a maximum with these 3 cards. I feel like that's probably a very safe bet. It's 3 cards. That's how much a maximum is. Those are the materials needed for a maximum, so I feel like that's kind of obvious, but it's still going to be super cool when and if it eventually does happen. But sticking in the realm of this episode, man, oh man, this made me appreciate Phaser in a way that I didn't prior. Now, I liked Phaser for sure, but I didn't think he had that unhinged element of him. And based on the summary for this episode, I actually thought the show was going to kind of make it come off as if he was like a puppet, he was a sympathetic character. And they didn't really do that at all. Actually, they did the opposite. Phaser was shown to be completely unhinged throughout this duel. Calm and patient, but selectively unhinged. He had captured aliens, and he tried to coerce Yudias and his countrymen to gather all of the aliens so that he could basically, exterminate them off the planet and put them back into space and get them off of Earth. And when Yudias wouldn't comply, Phaser threatened to hurt the Jersey Devils and the other aliens that he had captured and brought onto the roof. And of course, Yudias still did not comply, and so Phaser began the duel with him. Now, Phaser summons his non-maximum ace to kick this duel off. Yudias, of course, because that's the theme of this arc, I guess. Every time a maximum is in a deck, the character has to start by drawing the maximum. I was thrilled when Phaser didn't because it was something new. Yudias, of course, starts with the maximum, and he summons his maximum monster, and he's able to deliver the first blow to Phaser. And then Phaser responds by looking at one of the MIK agents. One of the MIK agents nods and then sends the pod with the 3 Jersey Devils into space, into the abyss of space. And Phaser starts laughing, and he says to Yudias, every time you deal me damage, I'm going to be returning the aliens that I've captured back home. Now, of course, the Jersey Devils are prisoners of this space pod. I'm not even sure if there's a way for them to get out. And Phaser is not kindly bringing them back to their home planet of New Jersey or wherever the heck they're from. He is just sending them into space because he views aliens as, whatever. They're not meant to be here. I don't really care where they go. I'm going to just displace them into the universe, and as long as they're off my planet, I don't really care. So Phaser is not really sending them back home. He's just getting them off of the planet, and he's trying to get Yudias now to hesitate to deliver damage to him, because now Yudias knows every time he does, he's going to be responsible for aliens leaving Earth, forcibly leaving Earth and getting displaced. And another thing that Phaser did is he tried to win this duel before it even started with the mind games. Like sometimes when you're playing a guy, you're playing a guy in tennis, and the guy in tennis starts, kind of trash talking you, and it gets you off your game a little bit, and you just get murdered. He kills you on the courts, even though you know you're better with that racket. You know you're a better tennis player than him, but he beat you before the match started, and you couldn't kind of stay in your own head and stay composed. That's exactly what Phaser does to Yudias at the beginning of this episode. He talks about how Yudias is all alone, and if Yudias was a better friend, he wouldn't have allowed his other friends to get carded, which, really isn't Yudias's fault. But Yudias is alone, and outside of the 7 UTS people that are there that, are probably going to be in retirement homes in 5 years, Yudias has nobody in his corner rooting for him, and so I get what Phaser was saying, and it clearly bothered Yudias before this duel began, so the trash talking from Phaser was really, really good. And then Phaser ends up summoning his maximum on his next turn. He delivers some damage to Yudias, and because he delivered damage, he begins the next part of his plan, which is to allow aliens to just roam free on Earth. He forces the aliens to roam free. The MIK agents yell out about how they're scared because of the aliens being here, and what Phaser is trying to do is he's obviously trying to get the humans to distrust and fear aliens, so he has an easier time getting them off of the planet. It's a tactic we've seen in the real world before. It's scummy, it's shitty, obviously, but it backfires. It really backfires, and because UTS exists, people talked about how they always believed that aliens were here, and now that they're seeing them for the first time, they're not really scared, and all of the aliens are very nice. The aliens aren't, of course you have some bad aliens, but the aliens for the most part are very nice. All the ones in this shot are very, very kind. And the humans on Earth and in Matsuba Town don't have an issue with it. So Phaser's plan there actually backfires, which was really cool. And we learn about the origin of UTS, which was that it was created so that one day aliens and humans will be able to exist mutually and coexist comfortably, and that it was formed and created by an ancient Odo. Now, with how important the Odos have been in Rush-era Yu-Gi-Oh!, Yu-Gi-Oh! 7's Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush, this line about an ancient Odo is not a throwaway line, in my opinion. I think we're going to learn more about this character. Time travel is clearly a thing that exists in this world. It would not shock me at all if this ancient Odo is somehow a player in Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush, or mentioned maybe in Yu-Gi-Oh! 9, if of course it's going to be a trilogy. So I thought that line was super, super cool, because we've been wondering about the origin of UTS. It's cool that we kind of got a little bit of it in this episode. And then the end, of course, is what we're all here to talk about. Shubaha grabs Yugioh's ship, and the package that he delivers is Duty Nishaw. And of course, Duty Nishaw has access to this time space where the flow of time does not flow with the regular flow of time outside it. And this was a package that Yugioh told Denois and Muda about. So Yugioh knew about this. He was orchestrating this. So this was all part of his plan to a degree. The Ducasi time sphere, I can't remember the exact name of it. It gets planted and the duel gets enveloped in it. As soon as it happens, Phaser screams out in pain and turns into a freaking dragon. Now, I imagine this is a space dragon, and this confirms, of course, that he and his brother probably are space dragons. So there's the symbolism and the reason that Shubaha is involved here. So 21 episodes later, after what was a throwaway duel, not a throwaway duel, a one-off duel, because Shubaha, we didn't know if he was ever going to show up again, that episode becomes super important, and that is a classic Studio Bridge special. drop a little bit of line, a little bit of lore about something, and then 5 months later go back to it. I absolutely love it. Why does Phaser turn into this dragon? I'm not exactly sure. There was something that was mentioned by Aura, who is one of the main subbers at the Entame Subs team. There's a common Japanese myth where, like, non-humans will show their true form in a certain time space. I'm probably butchering that myth, but there is a myth to go along the reasoning as to the time space changing, and then and then Phaser showing his true form. And with how big Go Rush has been with cryptids, with myths, with, you know, cryptozoology, it would not surprise me at all if that is the route that they are going, and that's kind of the urban legend that they are playing into here. But the dragon looks great. Yudias is going to be dueling against a dragon in the next episode. We also learned very briefly, or it's assumed, that Tremolo and Phaser's parents, their mom and dad, both died. What caused their parents to die? I don't know. Is that where maybe we bring in the creator? Is that where we bring in the character that is maybe forcing them to go to Earth here to exterminate the aliens? Because the reason for that, we're not entirely sure of. I mean, it could be something as simple as, yeah, Phaser just hates aliens and he wants to get rid of them all. But because the relic is involved, and because that means in turn the creator probably is involved, I think there's got to be something more here. I don't think they're creations of the creator at this point, which was my running theory for this arc. I think that's going to be not the case. But did the creator have an involvement in killing their parents or something super sinister like that? I could see that being the case, especially because the creator just views life as chess pieces in his game. It would fit his mantra. It would not surprise me in the slightest, but I don't know. You guys got to let me know all your thoughts and theories. This was another super good episode, and I cannot wait to see how this arc concludes. So please let me know all your thoughts and theories on Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush down below. Let me know your thoughts on 63 as well. Thank you so much for watching. A special thank you to my Platinum tier patrons, Goosey Q and Panther J, and to my Diamond tier patrons, Jesse Wood, Latrell Smith, and Elaine, and to my Egyptian God tier patron, Pink Penguin. Be sure to check out my Patreon for additional channel perks. Thank you to everybody who is a patron or channel member. You guys help me out tremendously. Thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to check out my channel for more Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime content, and I hope you have an amazing day.